Good morning, my lovely crafters. This is Crafty Sue 519. Welcome to my channel. And this is Tea Tuesday. Now, I wasn't sure if I was going to do this or not, but when I did it last Tuesday, I really enjoyed it. So I thought I'd come back. And I bought myself a new teacup because I did not have a nice teacup. So look how beautiful this is. Look, it's got my butterfly on it. And the flowers. It's a Lennox teacup. Holds 8 ounces. It's so cute. It's got a bumblebee on the inside, so don't think that's dirt. It's a little bumblebee. And here is the saucer. It's got a beautiful dragonfly and a little ladybug. How cute is that? I love that. So I was thinking, what do I want to do on Tea Tuesdays? Do I want to show things I make? Do I want to... I didn't know. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I'm going to steep my tea here while I talk. So I decided, and this is Taylor's Blackberry and Raspberry Tea. So I decided what I would do on Tea Tuesday is give you little snippets of me. Tell you little stories. Oh, I got lots of stories. Tell you little stories, you know, different things. So you get to know me a little bit better. So this has been a really, really hard week for this country. And it's been really hard for me because it brought back lots of memories of what I went through many years ago. I have 3 sons, Jay, Jeff, and Josh. And I have not named them with J names purposely. There's a story behind that. But this is my oldest son, Jay. My middle son, Jeff, and my youngest son, Josh. Josh is the one that lives near me with the twins that you hear me talk about. So, with the bombing that took place at the airport in Kabul, it brought back lots of memories. I'm very proud of all my sons that they decided to join the military. It killed me. All their lives, I told them not to join the military, not because I have anything against it, but because I'm a mom and I would worry sick about them. And they all joined, every last one of them. Couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. Look at that pretty red color. So, I'm going to take away Jay. And I'm going to take away Josh, and we're going to talk about Jeffrey. Jeffrey decided to join the Marines after 9/11. I almost had a heart attack. I came home from work one day, and there was a recruiter in my house with my son, and my son said, "Mom, I'm joining the Marines." And I said, "For heaven's sakes, Jeffrey, why are you joining the Marines? There's going to be a war." And he said, "I want to be better than my brothers." Because his brothers were both Army, he thought being a Marine was a step up. And he was a great Marine. He did a great job. Jeffrey is probably my shyest of my 3 sons. And certainly the one I would have thought of least to join the Marines. Well, fast forward, he goes through basic, goes through all of his training, does everything he has to do, and is promptly sent to Iraq. And he was on that initial march to Baghdad from Kuwait when the war first started. Not a good time. Now, we had that bombing at the airport. that killed 13 of our brave men and women. And when I heard that, I was immediately thrown back to when Jeff was serving in Iraq. I know what those parents felt. I know what it feels like when your child is at war and you hear something happens and you don't hear from your child. Now, when Jeff went to Iraq, it was way in the beginning. There were no cell phones. There was nothing. I was lucky if I heard from him 2 or 3 times the whole time he was there. And oh, my heart just broke for these people. I know how terrified you are when the phone rings. I know how your legs get weak if the doorbell rings. I know that feeling. And I was just devastated for these families. Just devastated for them. I don't know what happened there was right or wrong. I don't know. I do know one thing. You don't make friends with the enemy. And I don't trust any terrorist organization. And I don't know. But anyhow, back when Jeff was in the military, I'm going to take my tea bag out first. Let's take a little sip. That's quite good. Quite good. Back when Jeff was in the military, I got a phone call from a movie director. I was living in California at the time. And she asked me if she could come and interview me because she was making a movie about moms whose children went to war. I thought it was kind of weird. I actually didn't believe it was true because how did she get my phone number at work, and why would she be calling me of all people? But anyway, it was true. It was true. And she came to my house and we spoke, and she was interviewing lots of different moms. And she would pick 14 mothers to be in a documentary. And the documentary was called My Child, Mothers of War. And I didn't think much of it for a while until I got the phone call that says you've been selected to be in the film. I think she interviewed 60 mothers and picked 14, and I was one of the 14. And it was because of Jeff. They came to my house, they set up my living room, cameras and sound systems and all that kind of stuff, just like a movie set. It was quite incredible. It was quite an experience. And we made the movie. And well, she interviewed me. She interviewed me and I answered questions that she asked. And this is the movie. It's called My Child, Mothers of War. And there's this teeny, tiny little picture right here. And that is me and Jeff hugging, because I went to see him in hospital. He had been airlifted out of Iraq. There's a lot of dust there, and our boys are not used to that type of environment, and he got pneumonia really bad, and they had to airlift him out of Iraq to Germany. And then from Germany to Washington, and then from Washington to California. And the base that they brought him to in California happened to be very close to where I lived, so I was able to go over and see him. We took him out of the hospital for the day, and we took him to Burger King because we figured he'd love to have some hamburgers and fast food or something after being in Iraq all those months. And I didn't know the man that was sitting across from me. His eyes were dead. They were just dead. The things that he saw, and I never asked questions. I was told not to ask questions, that if he wanted to say anything, he would. And he did tell us a couple of things, and it was horrifying. And anyhow, not good. Not good. So then he was transferred from that base down to Pendleton, his Marine base. And we flew down there and met with the doctors. And they said it's going to take a good month for him to heal. So I said, let me take him home with me, which they did. I worked for physicians. And, I wanted him checked by my doctors, and we did that. And he stayed home with us, and he was very subdued, very quiet. And when I had to send him back to Pendleton, it just broke my heart all over again. And he was promptly sent back to Iraq. And I think the second time he went was worse than the first, with what he saw. Not an easy time. Any of you who have had children who are in the military, you know that feeling. You know. So this bombing and losing 13 of our heroes really brought me back to this time in my life. And this movie, we had the debut at a film festival in, what's the city? I can't think of it right now. My mind is going in a million places, remembering all this stuff. Anyhow, we premiered at a film festival outside of San Francisco. And Angeliki, the director, had called me and asked me if I could come down early. She asked if Jeff could come up from Pendleton because he was home at the time. And he did. He came home for the weekend. And she asked me to meet her there early because television stations and media and newspapers and stuff were interviewing. And she had me and another mom come to meet her there, and we were on the news. We were on local news, my son and I, and me by myself, answering questions, talking about what it was like to have your child at war. It was quite an experience. It really was an experience. That night, she held a party for us. We had no clue who the other parents were, who the other moms were that were going to be in the film until that night. And it was the night before the premiere. And oh my gosh, it was such an emotional evening, meeting all these moms. There were 3 sets of moms in the film. There were those like me who were lucky and their children came back from war unharmed physically. They were the moms whose sons came back harmed, and they were the moms whose sons never came back. Oh, that was tough. That was very, very tough. And the next night was the premiere, and we all went to the movie theater, and none of us had an idea what this film was going to be like, and it was heartbreaking. Oh my gosh. Oh, I sat in that theater with my son beside me, my husband, my stepdaughter, and her friend, and the cries from the audience, from the other mothers, and the sobbing. Oh my gosh, that's something I will never, ever forget. My heart goes out to these 13 families. Oh my gosh. Our little movie won Best Documentary of that film festival. Very proud of that. Very proud of that. It was so well done. Angeliki did a fantastic job with this film. Fantastic job. It never got the full recognition it should have. It was in several different film festivals and stuff, and it did play on PBS in certain areas. Of course, she gave us all a copy of the movie, and it could be bought online. It's a little difficult now. It's been quite a few years since the film was made. But after the movie was over and it was announced that we had won that award, everybody was happy about that. But we gathered in the lobby and people were coming up to me and saying, I know you, you were in that movie, And that was kind of weird. But one lady walked up to my son and she looked up at him and she said, could you give me a hug? She said, my son died in Iraq. And of everything, I miss his hugs. And Jeff wrapped his arms around her and he hugged her and they held for such a long time. And he told her, whenever you need a hug, you call me. And I will go hug you. She lost her only child. Oh gosh, it was a tough night, I'll tell you. It was a really, really tough night. So, I'm sorry this is such a somber video, but as you can probably imagine, what happened in Afghanistan at the airport just brought everything back. Jeff is now disabled mentally from the war, from going there twice. He has extreme PTSD and anxiety. He doesn't drive. He's terrified to get in a car. He pretty much stays home all the time. He does walk. He does ride a bike to get outdoors and get a little bit of exercise. And that's about it. He can't fly here. He lives in Rhode Island with his dad, and he can't fly here because he can't get on an airplane. And I think people forget the mental anguish that these people go through when they're put in these situations. But anyhow, blackberry raspberry tea. Very good. I apologize if I ramble too much. God bless those families. Keep them strong through this very difficult period. And watch over all of our military. I would like to say some really bad things, but I will refrain. It's hard because I'm not the type to hold things back when I have something to say. When my boys were all recruited, I said to every single recruiter, I want your tag number in your name, because if anything happens to one of my sons, I will hunt you down and kill you. Of course I wouldn't do that, but I was so terrified that something would happen to one of my boys. Oh gosh. Anyhow, that's my story for today. Please say a prayer for these families. They lost a hero. We all lost heroes. Happy Tea Tuesday. And we'll talk again soon. Love yous. Bye.